2, 1. You're live.
What's up, fish heads?
Woo!
Welcome back to Waterbox Live on Wednesday evening.
Best day of the week?
Yes.
For sure.
Appreciate you all joining us. Are we giving away gift cards today?
I did put yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so we're giving away some gift cards today as usual, so make sure you guys comment put your name, where you're from in the comments, ask questions.
Yeah, so 2 $100 Waterbox gift cards. And of course, the currency is being active in the chat. So put your questions in there because we're going to have a lot of time for Q&A. And the guys can't give you, can't pick you if you're not active in there. So let us know where you're from. What Waterbox do you have? What are you considering? Put your questions in there so the guys can start grabbing those questions.
Oh, yeah.
Anything Waterbox Aquarium related, fish keeping, whatever. Open Q&A doesn't have to be on a certain topic. And he'll have Tourette's and just do his thing. And,
I will talk over you. It's all good.
So we'll give away some monies at the end, but get your questions in there, engage in the chat. But we'll talk a bit about mandarins today as well. So that's going to be highlighting a certain fish today. Just something I think that everyone kind of sees in the hobby. And everybody wants as a fish because it is probably the most beautiful thing you can ever see.
It makes people want them.
It is.
Because they are fascinating.
But they're also not meant for almost, I'd say, 80% of people that get an aquarium. So we'll dive into that and talk about the Mandarin is kind of our focus today. But the questions can be about anything. So just go ahead and drop them in there. And we'll be answering questions throughout the whole show.
Again, post your questions in the comments. Let us know where you're from. I got to plug in my tablet.
Oh, no. You have no battery?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
This thing is exceptionally long. Post your questions below. Let us know where you're from. No hook to cook. We're not giving away a $10,000 gift card like we did last week. Also, hook to cook. I've been watching your channel, man. Content's fire, bro.
Did they follow you back? Is that the question?
No, I don't think you did. You need to follow Fish Heads Outdoor. What's my channel's called? Fish Heads Outdoors, or Fish Heads Outdoor Adventures is the longer version of it. But
you didn't get a follow back. That's messed up.
I think it thought I was talking about Waterbox last week, but Hook to Cook, I got an outdoor channel too as well that I do. I'm not as consistent as I would like to be, but
you're there.
Post it on the chat.
Sure,
there you go.
Yeah, check it out, you guys. It's just something I do for fun with the kids and stuff, because we do a lot of fishing, hunting, camping, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Something cool to follow along with, so go check it out. But yeah, so talk about some mandarin fish. And, these are one of those fish I think you see in a store, say you picture online, and you're like, that's probably the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I want one. I need one for my aquarium. You go buy one. A lot of times people probably are not educated well on what is required for these guys. They get them, and number one problem with these guys is they're going to starve to death in most aquariums. So they are so cool to watch. They just kind of flutter along. They have like this secondary set of fins that just like flutters, and
it's really wild.
Yeah,
like how they swim around.
They're so cool, and they have so much pretty colors. And they just kind of hover on the rock, and they're picking all the time. So what they're doing is they're picking at live food, copepods, mysid shrimp, all this natural live microfauna and stuff that's in your aquarium. They have, aquaculture varieties and stuff that can eat some like prepared foods and stuff, but for the most part, they need that live stuff that's like from your refugium that's naturally grown in your aquarium, and they eat a lot of it.
Yeah.
They're picking all day long. So you go and put them into this newer aquarium or this smaller aquarium or one that doesn't have a refugium, and they eat all your population really fast, and then they just starve to death.
Yeah.
And this is the second type that's also a mandarin. This is a spotted mandarin or target mandarin. And these are actually a better choice because these tend to actually be more likely to take frozen food, even the wild ones.
Now, does ORA aquaculture this?
They do. They do aquaculture both varieties. Okay. And that means they do take frozen food. So there are aquaculture options. So always go with that first. And they're going to be more likely to take the frozen food. But you still need that natural live food source. You need that copepod, you need that refugium. an established amount before you put them in. So these poor guys get bought from fish stores just because they're beautiful, and they get thrown in this 10-gallon or a new aquarium. You could have a 200-gallon aquarium, but if you haven't established it with these live copepods and this live food, it doesn't matter how big your aquarium is. If it's not set up and established for them, they're still gonna starve. And like, you have a big aquarium, trying to spot feed this little guy that's running around the rocks, extremely difficult.
Yeah, there you can see the blue Mandarin, the spotted Mandarin, and honestly, if you can, guys, and you think your tank's in a position to house one of these, I would 100% get in touch with ORA and see where you can find one of their fish rather than finding a wild fish.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's going to be easier because at least they will take frozen food so you can supplement their diet. And they don't get big, which is good. So, and I know you can successfully keep them in smaller aquariums. Now, don't go and put them in 10 or 20 gallon. That's going to be almost impossible unless you want to go buy a bag of copepods and spend $20 a week like seeding your aquarium. But they don't get big. They're like 3-4 inches. You know, you can have a pretty small aquarium, but you have to have that live food source, even if they're aquaculture, because you can supplement their diet, but they still need that natural stuff. I remember my very first aquarium 20 years ago, saltwater reef. It was a 15-gallon, like, tall, horribly set up. Not going to go into that because it was the beginning of saltwater really knowing too much. And I went and I bought myself a little Mandarin because no one tells you otherwise. Pet store didn't care. There wasn't even that many saltwater stores at that time. And this thing, I mean, he lived for a while, but it just slowly watched starve to death because you just can't live. And that happens to so many of these, and it really sucks because they're so pretty. They just have so much specialized needs. I don't even want to know how many get bought and don't live.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. They are so cool, though.
They're
really fascinating to watch.
It's a little pointy little froggy face kind of thing, and they just pick,
pick. You know the region specifically? Is it mostly like, is it really only the South Pacific, or do they?
I've told you, don't ask me about regions and stuff, man.
Canaan.
Google. Scientific names and general regions and stuff, that does not fit into my brain.
I also want to know too, like, and I should know this, but like, I guess maybe I shouldn't, but like what region they're from, but also where within the reef are they most dominant? Like, are they in the shallows? Are they in the deeper water? Are they all over?
Probably all over.
I would imagine lower flow, though.
You want to read it or you want me to read it?
Hey, can you pull it up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, that's a lot of words.
Yeah, try to say that.
So it's a little hard for me to read. The Pacific ranging approximately from South Australia. Okay, so yeah, Australia too.
Okay.
It can usually be found in some of the warmer waters. That's interesting. Mandarin fish is described 1927. All right. Yeah. So the Pacific, Australia, and looks like maybe warmer waters, which would lead me to believe shallower water.
Yeah, because you're saying with like lower flow, is that's not what I would think, because in the like reef tanks and like heavy flow SBS and stuff, they have no problem with any of the high flow situations. I've never found them to have any issue. They stick really close to the rock. Mm-hmm. They're never swimming. They're not a free swimming kind of fish. They stick to the rock because that's where their food source is. They are constantly, and I'm talking 24/7, and that's where the problem comes in, is their whole life is fluttering around close to the rock, pick, grabbing little tiny copepods and mysis shrimp and stuff like that. And because they're so busy, I think they have a very like high metabolism where they are constantly eating. And that's why you need that like refugium and like constant stuff feeding them, is because they don't stop moving and they're just always looking for food. So they don't really get into a current. They're always around the rock. Mm-hmm. But you know, you have to figure they don't. I don't think I've ever seen one like just chilling in a spot. They've always moved. Have you ever had a Mandarin in your aquarium?
I have.
How'd that go? Which one was it?
It was a blue and I don't remember. And that's probably not really a good sign because it's like, I don't really know how long. It was a pretty mature tank. I mean, it was that SPS tank that I had that I spent a long time letting it mature and so on and so forth. Yeah, but I don't really know.
Yeah. I had my first one, which went horribly wrong because I was a 15-gallon 20 years ago, knew nothing. And I've kept the blue and reds and the spotted ones since then successfully, and other ones, with spot feeding and refugiums and all of that stuff. So it's just a fish that you really have to be prepared for. You can't just on a whim grab one and expect long-term success. I guess if you don't mind throwing in a bag of copepods, you can buy bagged copepods that are the small ones to seed your tank, and constantly add them. You want to spend $20 a week or more. Sure, you could throw it into a smaller aquarium, but that's not really realistic for most people. So we always talk about, it doesn't matter what fish or what coral, it's the research before you get anything. Mm-hmm. Really applies to this one, but it applies to anything like we always talk about. So this one just 100% because they have such a specialized diet and like needs more than anything else.
It's funny too when you talk about like you bought that fish back then. We didn't have the same resources.
There was
as
none.
we do now. Like
there
with
was
YouTube
none.
and there's just so many more resources than there was back then. You're just relying a lot of times on the fish store to give you the right information, but they were just trying to sell something.
20 years ago, there weren't even really saltwater stores.
Yeah.
It was like
very few.
At like a chain.
Yeah.
I don't even remember which chain it would be. I think it was like, oh my God, it was like one of those chains that used to sell puppies. Like, I think they're all out of business now. They would also have a saltwater section. But that's the only place you could get saltwater. I don't even know where they were getting it from. But, 20 years ago, there was no amazing living reefs and worldwide corals and like these other places that you find everywhere that like can get everything and have knowledge and stuff. Like 20 years ago, it was like, I don't really know anything about the corals. There were no protein skimmers. The protein skimmer back then was a wood block with an air pump.
Yeah.
Like that was your protein skimmer. There was no knowledge back then. It was like buy anything and figure it out. And we all kind of learned for the future of this hobby and industry 20 years ago.
Carol says, which is pretty cool, her Mandarin was almost 10 years old when she took her tank down.
Yay. Oh, Mandarin. That's good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Carol, did your Mandarin have a name? That's what I want to know.
I don't name fish.
You don't name fish?
No.
Why?
Okay.
You probably said this before.
Yes. So,
I have dementia, so.
I don't have any aquariums at home just because I've been doing it for so long. And working in this industry and running stores and maintenance and stuff like that, it comes to a point where you don't want to go home and take care of the same thing. But when I had aquariums at home and all that, every time myself or anyone in my house named a fish,
dead.
It was doomed. It freaking died. So refused to name a fish after that. Just would not allow a naming of fish anymore. So all around the office though, here in our aquariums, they all, Lauren and Melissa and all of them have so many names for these fish, but I refuse to ever name a fish because I learn every time I do, it's just like a death sentence. I won't do it.
It just occurred to me actually that I think I only ever named one fish.
The mango.
Yeah. I think that was the only fish I ever named.
I was thinking about putting together a fish list for the Year of the Reef because we need to add like our second batch of fish.
Blonde Naso.
Blonde Naso has to be on there.
Yeah.
I was like, do we name it Mango, like Junior? Mango 2? No? Come with
One of a kind, baby. One of a kind.
I can't name it. I'm not responsible. I'm not
Maybe
doing
we
that.
still got to stick with a fruit.
Kiwi? Something?
I've named her Mango because the orange.
Yeah.
You know there's going to be a bunch of fruit names now coming up.
Yeah. What should we name?
What should we name the next blonde Naso tang that we're going to put in the 230?
Yep. Yeah, I was like,
We're
I
gonna
have
get some
to build.
interesting
I have to
names.
build.
I gotta ask Evan. Evan's my son. If you guys are wondering, is really good at naming things.
I was like, I have to build the next stocking list around the blonde Naso. I knew I did, and I have to work on that because we have to add some more. But
Papaya.
papaya.
Lindsay-
That's pretty
Lindsay-
close to mango. That's
Yeah,
actually a pretty good one.
Yeah,
I actually like
Lindsay
that one.
just dropped that one.
Linseed's just all on it. Yeah, I like that one because it's very close to mango as far as type of fruit, I think.
Sean says he doesn't have a local fish store within 3 to 5 hours.
Holy crap, where do you live?
Yeah, where do you live, Sean?
I remember he came down, but he was saying, I can't remember where he came down from, but that's really far.
Is it Ohio?
Oh, it might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Midwest and upper, that's a tough region for this hobby for sure. There's not a whole bunch. But I mean, the good thing now is with the shipping and stuff, in the last 5-10 years, the shipping on fish and corals and stuff has come such a long way. Like, you didn't get anything shipped. You couldn't get anything unless it was at a store near you. So that has made things so much easier. And it's gotten a lot more cost effective too. Like the shipping itself. Like if you're buying a handful of fish and corals, it's $65 for overnight shipping. In the relation to what you're purchasing, it's not bad.
Missouri.
Well, if anyone is looking to open a fish store, don't. But if you do, Missouri, wherever Sean is, probably a good location.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. All right, so that's all about the Mandarin. I'm sure there's a little bit more information, but that gives you a good read. Don't do it without research. It's a very specialized fish.
If you guys got questions, post them in the comments below. We're giving away a massive amount of money tonight, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah. $200.
$200.
Two $100 gift cards.
And get you some stuff.
Yeah. I know a lot of you guys
free money is
a lot of you
free
guys
money.
got water boxes in here. You shop at waterboxaquariums.com. So
John says he's 1.5 hours from St. Louis, which is a surprise. You would think a big city like St. Louis would have a saltwater store. Just surprised, I guess.
maybe you need to check out our store locator.
Wow.
I don't know if we have any.
I don't know.
Well, the Mandarin getting along with a yellow Watchman Goby and a 60.2 Marine EX.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be a problem of compatibility. The Watchman Goby, if he's got certain burrow exits and stuff, might kind of shove the Mandarin away from those. Usually Watchman Gobies aren't real aggressive beyond those points. It's more in the 60.2 is maintaining the copepod population, because you don't have a dedicated refugium population in that sump. You need to either makeshift something, make some piles of rock rubble in the sump, somewhere dedicated that those copepods, in your seeding can reproduce and grow. Also put some rock rubble piles into the aquarium behind your aquascape, somewhere safe that they can reproduce and grow, that the Mandarin can't get to them. And seed those pods regularly, because you're going to need to kind of keep that population boosted in a little bit of a smaller aquarium.
Someone said maybe Sean should open one. He said, I already have one. He's got 6 tanks.
There you go.
If he
that's how most stores start.
If he opens a store, though, he's only allowed to sell sand. 100% sand. That's it.
You might have stockpiled already. He's ready to go.
Oh, goodness. Do I need to rinse out my... All right, get it together. Do I need to rinse out my new Infinio 190 before I add RODI water?
No, you're good. You're good to go. It's water tested before.
Hey, are
there's
you
nothing in.
married to Carol?
Huh?
It's the same last name.
Is it? Oh, I think
Carol
the 190.
Blacka, Ed Blacka.
They were at Reefapalooza.
Ah.
Those?
Does Mandarin eat
then
pests?
The 191 is the fish only.
Yeah. Does Mandarin eat pests?
The spotted Mandarin is more likely to possibly pick at flatworms and stuff like that than the red or blue Mandarin. So spotted Mandarin possibly, but not really a guarantee. I wouldn't put them in as a pest management.
It just hit me, Ed and Carol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing a fish only 190.
Yeah, it took me a second.
I think it's arriving to them soon. If it hasn't already, I know it was coming very soon.
It has.
It has. Yay. Good. Okay.
How many tanks and angels can fit in my new 190?
Well, that is a tough question, because it depends on which ones you choose. Now, if we're talking smaller tanks like Bristletooth, you could fit more. If you're talking some bigger tanks, you want the blue blue tang in there, or some yellows, which are more aggressive, it's going to be less. Angels, if they're dwarf angels, you can fit more. If you're talking bigger angels, like a blue face or something like that, you're going to fit less of them. So it's going to be very dependent on which type you want to mix, and there's sizing requirements. So it's hard to answer that directly. What are you laughing about?
Sean's giving me crap about not remembering. Listen, there's a thing at Waterbox called Waterbox Amnesia. It's a real thing.
Remembering what?
Carol and Ed.
Oh.
I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. They're one of the fish that really makes me want saltwater. Them and a cowfish. Oh, both are both
the
really,
Mandarin?
Yeah, pull up cowfish.
Oof. Cowfish.
They're really cool looking, but
Don't do
let's
it.
hear it.
Okay.
Give them the rundown.
All right, cowfish bring back bad memories only because, okay.
If they die.
Huh?
Because if they die.
Yeah, okay, they do release a lot of toxins when they die, but only because, just because I have a problem with, whenever I was, super cool looking, dumbest fish, but,
They also live in, I think, very shallow water because they can't handle a lot of flow.
they can't handle a lot of flow. So whenever I used to run a fish store and maintenance, there is a restaurant at Universal Studios City Walk, Cowfish. And there is a freaking big glass bowl there with these rubber noodles in them. We set it up, and it's a fish tank in the middle of the restaurant, and it's the worst design thing with cowfish in it. You used to have to go maintain this thing with these stupid cowfish in them, and they're horrible. They're not smart fish. They don't get along with most stuff. They are very slow. They're hard to keep. They get huge.
They do get pretty big.
They get big. They're just.
You maintain that. Did you maintain that? I feel like I remember you saying this. You know the bar? No, at SeaWorld and the shark.
No, not
thing?
SeaWorld. So
you remember the bar that had
Shark
like
bar.
the that had
Yeah,
the fish
no,
in it?
no shark bar.
And they were all upside down for some reason. Did you notice that?
No,
The fish all swam upside down against the acrylic. Like
because they're confused.
yeah, because they're in this much water.
No,
It's-
used to always maintain at Universal
not a great
Studios was Lombardi Seafood had the huge pillar one in the middle. We used to maintain that every day and dive it. But at
in
Cowfish,
Winter Park?
no, Universal Studios.
Lombardi's?
Lombardi Seafood Restaurant is closed now, but
Oh.
and then there's Cowfish Restaurant.
Was that-
had Cowfish?
I'm going on a tangent, but I don't care.
You said restaurant food.
There was is it related to Lombardi's, like the seafood market?
I don't know. Lombards. It might not be Lombardi's. It might be
all right, maybe
Lombards.
that's what it is.
It was right near where Harry Potter World opened up. I remember because I was doing this is like 8 years ago because I've been here for a while. But right where I watched Harry Potter World get built, but the seafood restaurant right there in Universal, huge like 1,500 gallon cylinder aquarium in the middle of the restaurant.
Yeah.
Maintain that. But in like City Walk is Cowfish Restaurant, and I don't even know what that aquarium is doing if it even exists anymore. But it was Cowfish Restaurant, so they had a cowfish. They're not a great fish, but that's the end of my tangent. But not great.
They look cool.
Yeah,
We're
they
planning
do
on
look cool.
quarantining all our fish. Can they handle copper power?
Yeah, copper power is a great product. You just have to really be careful with it because copper is
That's a
going to
weird
take care
name.
of stuff. But, huh? What did you say?
It's such a weird name for a product. Copper power. Like, what are you gonna do? Wrap your fish up in copper wire?
It does sound like a band name. Copper power.
I hope that packaging is very aggressive.
It's not. It's a.
You have to look.
It's opaque.
Yeah, pull it up.
It's an opaque bottle, and it says copper power on it. That is pretty much it. Unless they've changed it
I'm gonna
in
strike
8 years.
if they don't change that packaging immediately.
It's no
Give me
good.
a call. I can come up with some more good stuff.
You're on the comments. Yeah.
See?
Oh my
I
God!
told you. That's it. That's it. It's not exciting
I want a
whatsoever.
Put it in a box.
I didn't even buy it. Give me my money back. That should be so much more aggressive than that.
It's not. It's not. Okay. Great product. Works as advertised. Not a band, but you have to have a really good copper test. And every time you do a water change or there's evaporation, you have to retest and you have to dose very carefully because copper is a very fine line between dosing to prevent and cure parasites and problems to overdosing and killing your fish. So you have to be very stringent on redosing and monitoring. This is the only thing to keep track of. It's commonly used though in fish systems and quarantining and stuff because it does work and it doesn't take a lot of it and it's very cost effective. I'm so surprised I remember that bottle from like 8+ years ago.
I don't think I've ever seen it before.
Yeah. Huh?
It hasn't innovated much.
It has not changed. I was like, unless it's
Still
changed in 8 years,
Microsoft
it's
Paint.
just this one bottle and it's blue.
How do you quarantine mandarins if they only eat pods?
You do not quarantine mandarins. You cannot, they will die. Funny thing about mandarins is they have this extremely heavy slime coat and they are extremely resistant to disease. Because of the heavy slime coat, they tend to not, even when you have like ick problems and other stuff, they tend to not get them. I've seen them get bacterial problems with their fins because they do have big flowy fins, if they get nipped at or anything else bacterial, but I've not seen them really susceptible to parasite problems, even if you have them in your aquarium. Super slimy, super like smooth skin. They don't have a lot of scales, it's very smooth. So they have a very thick slime coat, which I think protects them a lot. But if you quarantine a mandarin, you're going to kill a mandarin. Yeah. They can't take medication very well, and they're not going to survive in that sterile environment without the food.
Do not quarantine mandarins.
No. I mean, it does provide some risk, but I don't think it really outweighs them going into a quarantine and what you're going to kind of deal with.
What's Jess's preferred treatment for cloudy eye bacterial infections in a clownfish freshwater dip and antibacterial ?
Oh, yeah. Can you catch the fish out? Would be the first question. If you can catch the fish out, and I guess I don't know how readily available it is anymore, but formalin is a fantastic bacterial medication. You have to be careful because it is very aggressive, I guess. Not aggressive, but easy to overdose. But formalin is going to be the like fastest and best bacterial medication. If you can't catch them out, find whatever reef-safe medication you can put in there. And they're tough because reef-safe medications are hit or miss on how good they are. And a lot of times with cloudy eye or bacterial, if it's kind of mild, let it go. Let it work itself out. See if it kind of resolves itself. If they have a problem, figure out what it is. Is there a water quality issue? Is there aggression? Did they scrape it on something? A lot of times if the fish is healthy, they can heal themselves. And a lot of times catching one fish out of a big tank is not possible. It's extremely difficult. You're going to cause more issues and stress to everything else. Then you're going to do good by trying to get that fish out. But if you can easily catch the fish, get them out into a quarantine, do a formalin dip, and freshwater's fine too. Freshwater's more for parasites though. It's going to do you more good for dropping parasites than it is going to be for bacterial.
No more questions.
Is the Infinia Peninsula 6025 big enough for a porcupine puffer, or do I need to get a 7225?
Porcupines get freaking big.
Like 2 feet long, right?
Yeah, I don't think in captivity they're really going to generally get that big, but they get big and they move a lot. They're fast swimmers. They like a lot of room. And it really depends on how much stuff you want to keep with them. Ideally, if you have the space, bigger is always better.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
if you can,
Just go with
go
the
with the go with the 6 foot. The width is still the same, so it's not really the turning radius that we're talking about. It's just that back and forth. And I've seen like a little freaking 6 foot porcupine puffer run a 6 foot tank back and forth like it's nobody's business. So you start thinking when they get big, the amount of space they can cover is so much and so fast. So the more space you can give them, I mean, if you can, look at the LX, because you got that front to back space is going to be a lot wider. You can go longer if you can, but even if nothing else, just that wider space. If you can do an LX, do consider that just for the bigger footprint. But I would go with the 6 foot nonetheless.
My kids still talk about nugget.
Oh,
We had a porcupine for a brief
Nugget.
while. Somehow they still remember it.
oh man.
Oh, look at
Oh my goodness, that was so fast.
that's nugget right there.
There's a little
They
nugget.
move so fast that I could never get them in focus.
No, they're fast little things. And the funny thing is their body is so freaking like big and weirdly shaped, but these tiny little fins, and they move so fast.
Always moving.
Just and these tiny little fins. So you got to,
Big
yeah,
old
they cover a
eyeballs.
lot of space, but they're a lot of fun. They do have a great personality, and they really do become like pets. Puffers and triggers and some of those like fish only kind of things do have like a personality like a little puppy dog.
Have you ever dealt with Popeye?
Yeah.
What was your treatment for that?
Weird thing is, as a Popeye, I don't think there really is much of an actual treatment. It's a gas buildup behind the eye, usually stress or injury related. So
Does it go
a lot
away?
of times it does go away on its own. If it's, I mean, a lot of times it is kind of a stress relater. So figure out the stress, or if there's an issue that caused it, and it does go away a lot of times on its own. Now, the problem with Popeye a lot of times is the fish gets Popeye for whatever reason. It may be, it could be injury, stress, or whatever.
Keenan, look up Popeye.
Is oh, you're gonna get a lot of responses.
I'm digging the Google.
Fish
Yeah,
Popeye.
Yeah, fish Popeye. Be careful with that one.
Yeah. Is I find that a lot of times when a fish gets Popeye, is that over time or eventually they end up with a secondary bacterial infection, and that's where the problem.
That's exactly what I was talking about. I don't know what she's talking about.
I'm ready for dinner.
Yep. Nope.
Go ahead.
talking about
I think
chicken.
This guy?
No, look up saltwater fish Popeye. Popeye fish.
Yeah, I mean it. Yeah.
Well, actually, I've seen that too. When you pull up a fish from like 1,000 feet and their eyes go.
Yeah.
This guy?
No.
No, they just have big eyes. Squirrelfish.
Maybe
just
that's
have
that angelfish
Oh,
right there.
the grouper. The little spotted polka dot guy.
On the left.
The white and black guy on the left. That guy. Yeah. Oh, where does this picture go?
That?
Yeah,
It's
that
just
one.
real small. I think the angelfish has it too up above it. That queen angel.
Oh yeah. Go the
This?
middle up. Up middle.
Yeah, that angel right there. Yep, there you go.
Yeah. So it's a gas buildup behind the eyeball. Now the problem comes in is when that eyeball then gets a bacterial infection. That bacterial infection is way more of a problem than the little sticky out eyeball. Now you have to worry about that bacterial infection.
Ed says we're getting silly. Ed, we're just having a good time, man. We're just trying to
They're talking about chicken.
Yeah.
You know.
trying to lighten it up a little bit. You know.
Yeah. So
Oh, I guess. Two
what?
words. Popeye, not Popeye.
Oh
Popeye.
yeah, that's where you're screwing it up. You're still trying to find the chicken.
Very different things.
Oh,
I was like, that's such a random question from you about Popeye.
Well, that's just one thing I thought. But I
Yeah.
was being serious, like about
Oh.
like the. Yeah, no.
Okay.
I was.
I thought you were waiting for actually for the chicken.
No. I was just playing along with him. I was genuinely talking about the Popeye. I had a. All right, forgot the name.
A fish
A fish.
with Popeye.
Yeah,
It was a good story.
it did.
We're ready for
I could never cure it, so I brought it to the store and was like, I don't know if you guys can do something with this.
It doesn't really hurt the fish. They can live with that eye. Popped out like that.
If my eye was jammed out of my head, it would.
Okay, I'm not saying I don't know if it physically hurts the fish. I'm saying they can live with that eye just popped out like that. Like a normal life, they eat fine, they swim fine. It's only if they get that bacterial infection that then we end up with bigger problems, I guess I'm saying, as the owner of said fish. I don't know what the fish is
It
feeling.
was a harlequin tusk. Could not find that word for some reason. It was an osteostrel.
Yeah, I've had that with a harlequin tusk before too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an expensive fish just to hand off because of a bowly eye.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that.
Keenan's like, wrap it up, guys. Shit's getting out of control. All right.
All right.
We've got some winners. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Let's give away some monies.
All right. Ready?
Go.
Oh, yeah. Lorraine Harmon and Gray Heisen. Congratulations, you guys. Email winners at waterboxaquariums.com. Let them know if you're in the U.S. or Canada. They'll get you hooked up pretty quickly with that. Again, we really appreciate you guys tuning in with us every week. It means a tremendous amount to us. I hope you guys enjoyed the little bit of silliness today. That may or may not continue. I don't know.
I don't know. That was fun. I like going off on random stuff. A little bit more time with questions and all that stuff. So
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we appreciate you guys, and we will see you next week.
see ya.
Peace.
Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. For more information on Waterbox Aquariums, visit waterboxaquariums.com.
We're live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to tune in, and we'll see you next week.